Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
All right, today we are going through every week of the 2023 season, and we're going to predict where College Game Day will be on every Saturday. Let's go back, though, first and see how we did last year. So if you're watching on YouTube, we have these are our predictions. And so we've been doing this we started in 2019, and that year we got 10 out of 16 correct, which we are never going to beat that. I don't think we're even going to ever tie that. We'll try. 2020, we didn't do it. 2021, 6 out of 15. And then this 2022, again, 6 out of 15. So
I feel like that's average. I don't feel like that's bad or good.
Yeah, it's definitely not good, but I agree it's not bad. Some of them that we missed some of them were impossible to get. State Troy, TCU Kansas.
Yeah.
There were two FCS games. Even like TCU late in the season playing Texas, that would have been a really tough one to get. And Tennessee cost us big time though. I mean, we thought Tennessee was going to be good last year, but they were involved in 3 College Game Days, and we didn't predict any of those. So
yeah,
that's what ended up happening last year. So
this
episode
every year though is the one that I think starts my excitement for the following year. Just because we look over the schedules and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get excited for these weeks.
I'm gonna watch this game. I'm gonna watch that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, let's start with week 1, of course. And Ryan, we usually have a gimme here. We usually get to go 1 for 1, but not this year.
No, we will go 1 for 1, but it's hard. I mean, because the big game obviously is LSU and Florida State, but that's on Sunday, so they're not going to be going there. So I mean, to me, it's kind of down to 2. There's North Carolina and South Carolina and Charlotte, and then you got Coach Deion Sanders' first game at TCU, so Colorado at TCU, and that's a 9:00 big noon game on Fox. So of course, big noon will be there. But that one's, I could see Game Day going there, but it's not a big enough draw. Like Colorado's going to be a bad team, and TCU, they just had the national title run, but they'll probably drop down. So I don't know. I don't see that as a big enough game for them to go and join big noon.
I mean, there is no big enough game. There is no.
But at least North Carolina and South Carolina is on their network. So, and it is, I don't know, North Carolina is supposed to be a solid team. Both of those teams have pretty good aspirations for this coming year. And I mean, it's the biggest game of quality teams that in week 1 on Saturday. I'll say that. Yeah, so that's my prediction.
Could be. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
I would have gone with Colorado TCU. I just think that it's the biggest story by far. You got a team that was in last year's national title, and then Deion. If you're gonna see Deion, week 1's the time to do it because, like you said, they might not be very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of leads into week 2. I got Texas at Alabama. I think that's probably a slam dunk. It's already on ESPN at night, so Kirk's going to be there for that already. It's going to shape the playoff race. It'll just be an amazing game. I mean, that's the game. There's A&M, Miami, Nebraska, Colorado for Deion's first home game, but no, Texas, Alabama.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're at least 1 for 2. Hopefully 2 for 2 after 2 weeks. Week 3 is there's not a lock here, that's for sure. But I'm going to go Tennessee at Florida. But this is tough because there's a decent chance Florida loses week 1 at Utah. I mean, they're like a 9-point underdog or something like that. So that is a concern. But if they don't lose, then
this is much stronger.
Kind of a lock to get it. Even if they do, they could still go there because it's a great rivalry, and there's just not a lot of options in week 3. The other ones that are there, South Carolina at Georgia, but South Carolina could also lose week 1, and that's just going to be a huge spread. So maybe they wouldn't go to that.
Washington at Michigan State.
No,
Michigan State is supposed to be bad this year.
I mean, but if they start off with a 2-0, they, I don't know who they play in the first couple weeks, but
I'm not sure.
No,
it's possible. possible, but Pitt,
not crazy.
Yeah, you got to throw them out there. Pitt at West Virginia, that
Yeah.
backyard brawl.
Yeah.
But neither team is, especially West Virginia, not supposed to be very good. I mean, Pitt's supposed to be good, but not like, game day type good. So TCU at Houston, the new Big 12 matchup.
Yeah.
But yeah, LSU at Mississippi State. Maybe game day would want to go there. Mississippi State, of course, with Mike Leach passing this offseason. Maybe that would be a nice story to have some sort of remembrance there. But yeah, there's a
pretty
ton
weak,
of options, but all of them are kind of mediocre.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you picked a good one. Just Florida wins that first one, then it's like you said, it definitely make it an easy choice there. All right, let's move on to week 4 though. We got this one's to me is we're getting some better games this week, but I think this is a clear choice. You got Florida State at Clemson, the two top dogs in the ACC, same division of course, and both these teams have playoff.
No divisions in the ACC this year.
We're finally done with the divisions everywhere.
Yeah.
Just about.
They're both have playoff aspirations, so it's just a massive, massive ACC game here. There is Ohio State at Notre Dame. That is also a big game, but I don't know. I think this one is just kind of bigger,
I agree. I like FSU Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Ole Miss at Alabama is like a third one, but they've already been to Bama just a couple weeks back, for the Texas game. So that's not happening. So this one makes the most sense.
Man, that Ohio State at Notre Dame, that's they don't see that much. That's
last year. Well, the opposite.
No, I know. No.
If FSU loses to LSU, and then maybe
and Clemson
FSU has some time. I didn't think about the schedule before.
Yeah,
I don't know what Notre Dame and Ohio State's schedules are before, but yeah, FSU has some toughies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is a impactful game nonetheless. I agree. I agree there. Week 5, it's not necessarily great in terms of like marquee matchups as we sit here today. I do think there are some good SEC games. Obviously, this is the point where we start to get to the point of the season where there's maybe some surprise teams that'll vie for a game day. But I'm going to go with Georgia at Auburn. I know game day, Michael, you mentioned maybe they're in Athens for the South Carolina Georgia game, at Georgia earlier. But I think Auburn has a chance. They're not supposed to be incredible this year, but they have a chance to be 4-0 if they knock off A&M the week before. And either way, they could showcase, Hugh Freeze's comeback to the SEC with this spot. Maybe it will be the first time they have the defending national champs Georgia on game day. So that's kind of the road I went. Other games, like you got LSU, Ole Miss. I just think there could be some losses for those teams.
Big Ten slate's pretty weak that week.
Yeah, so. South Carolina plays at Tennessee, but it's not a ton of marquee games.
Okay. Week 6, I'm going with Red River, Oklahoma, Texas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just because Oklahoma has a very manageable schedule. Before that game, they could easily be, have 0 losses or just 1 loss. Texas, I like this year. I like them as a potential top 10 team. And this is just always a highly anticipated, always a great game. So, well, not necessarily always a great game. Last year was a big blowout, but that's the choice. The other options were Alabama at A&M, but there's enough questions, of course, about A&M that I didn't go with that. I like Notre Dame at Louisville as a dark horse, just because I'm high on Jeff Brom, of course. And Louisville they have a chance to be undefeated still at that point, so that could be a sneaky one, but hard to go against Red River.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's move on to week number 7, I believe. We're going to Oregon and Washington. Oregon at Washington. This has been a pretty good rivalry of late. Washington got a good win in Eugene last year, so Oregon would want to repay the favor for that. And they got to get out west. All these other games we've picked have been definitely not out west or towards SEC territory. So this is a good opportunity for them to do that. There's also USC at Notre Dame. That could be an interesting one for them to go to. But I think those are kind of clear too, to me. I mean, unless surprise teams happen, that's always a possibility. Texas A&M at Tennessee, is another option. But the Big 12 to me is tough because there's some teams that somebody's going to surprise, but it's just so hard to pick who that is. Like, could it be Texas Tech? Could they be the surprise team this year? Could one of the new teams like Houston or Cincinnati, BYU, like who's going to be really good? Who's going to have a surprise season? It's hard to pick.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah. All right, moving on to week 8. I think this is this week is stacked. But I went with Penn State at Ohio State. Ohio State up to this point won't have had a home game day. Maybe they have the game at Notre Dame. But Penn State has a very good chance of getting to this point with 1 loss, maybe 0. So either way, though, it would still be a massive game for the Big Ten East race, potentially the playoff. But the other games, you got Utah, USC. That's a good game. Tennessee, Alabama. That was obviously a classic last year. Clemson, Miami. TCU, Kansas State, a rematch of the Big 12 title. So there's some big games that week.
Yeah, that is an impossible one to pick. So, moving on to week 9. I don't know about you guys. When I was going through these, and when we do this every year, I pretty much look at the week. I kind of ignore what's happening before and after because I'm not thinking like, oh, they just will have gone to this game because. Oops.
Yeah.
Hit the microphone. Because especially later in the season, it's such a crapshoot.
Probably going to be wrong that week before you anyway. So
exactly. Like if it was week 3, then I'm taking into account that they definitely just went to Texas at Alabama. So I'm not going to pick that. But later in the season, it's like I'm just looking at this week and picking the most likely, which is why by the end of it, you might say, oh, they're not going to go to this many SEC and Big Ten games. It's like, but those are the most likely that week. So anyway, something to keep in mind. Week 9, I'm taking Ohio State at Wisconsin. Yeah. So this one came down to 2, and it was a really tough choice. Let me know what you guys think, what you would have picked. So we know Ohio State is, should be great. They always are. And Wisconsin is an interesting story this year with Luke Fickell, transitioning to a more modern offense, and they've got a pretty manageable schedule up to this point, so that's why I chose this game. But the other one was Oregon at Utah that I was debating with, and I guess I didn't go with it because Utah plays at USC the week before. They'll be likely an underdog in that game, so could be coming off of a loss. And I don't know. I guess that was kind of my only reasoning there is
gives you something at least. It's hard to pick when you get this late in the year. I mean, you're just which team's going to be good. It's tough to predict that. So
and at least and Ohio State is clearly, at least preseason wise, the best of those 4 teams. So
and they want to showcase Fickell, and not to mention Fickell was the old Ohio State guy, so that it's fitting.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yep. All right, moving on. Week 10 we're at here. I'm going to go, I guess, a little sleeper here, although K-State's supposed to be good. I'm going Kansas State at Texas. Maybe not your dream team thinking of having Kansas State, but there's got to be a little bit of surprises there. And I like both those teams. I think both of them are going to be pretty good. So I could see this one being a big game. And I wanted to get another Big 12 kind of matchup in there, but there's Bedlam that week. Maybe Oklahoma State kind of surprises, but they're not supposed to be all that great. I'm just so curious about those other Big 12 teams because you got like UCF at Cincy also that week.
You can't unless Texas is involved in the game.
Yeah, I know. Or
maybe Oklahoma, in the preseason. But in the preseason, it's hard to pick a Big 12 game at this.
Yeah. But no, there's Notre Dame at Clemson is certainly a strong possibility that week. But I don't know. Yeah. I guess I'm going away from Notre Dame this year a little bit, and I think K-State's going to be pretty good. You got LSU at Bama. Good
oh, right.
Last year.
Wow, you went bold here.
I like it. I'm going bold. I like it. I think they've been
last year. I will say your bold pick was it makes it sound like I'm about to give you a compliment. I'm about to insult you. was Oklahoma, West Virginia. You get intrigued by the Big 12.
Ryan gets excited.
Hey, they went to TCU, Kansas.
No,
so,
they
you
did.
know,
It's true.
So,
True. You never know.
I'm trying to hit a home run here.
You are trying to get the home run.
For the
See,
fences.
like I would have been so conservative
Texas
instead LSU Bama, but
okay, but LSU Bama is the same. Like I agree, Ryan. I'm not going to be surprised if it's K-State Texas, but I feel like
I also just didn't want to go through this weekly list and just pick Bama games and Ohio State games and like that's it. You know, I'm trying to give some love.
We're trying to break our record of 10. Okay, I don't care what the people say.
I'm with you, and we're gonna have to take. It's like picking upsets in college basketball. Like it's gonna happen. You just got to pick the right ones. You can't just pick chalk.
No, but I mean K-State. I really like Texas this year, so I'm with you on that side of it. K-State,
Will Howard, K-State.
So what's is their schedule up to that point reasonable for
at that
K-State?
point? At that point, it's week 10, so at that point, I'm just like, you know, it's K-State.
All right. Yeah, Kansas true. State it's pretty schedule. Much the whole schedule by that
it's
point.
Pretty much almost everything. But they have played. They play Troy, Southeast Missouri, and then Missouri in their non-conference. So
yeah, let's see. I'm going through the schedule. UCF,
they avoid OU.
At Oklahoma State, at Texas Tech, TCU at home, Houston at home. All right, that's their schedule.
Yeah. It's all right. It's pretty light. It's pretty light.
That is that. Yeah, they could be a one-loss team by that point. Okay, all right.
Easy.
And you need Texas to be. Yeah, that's hey, good for you, Ryan.
Hey, well, maybe Bama's down this year. Maybe Texas gets Bama, and then all of a sudden, this is even huge, more big.
No, rolling the dice. I like it. Yeah. All right. So week 11 for me, I was down to 2. This one was hard for me. I got USC, Oregon, and Michigan, Penn State. I went, as you can see here on the graphic, I went Michigan at Penn State because it's likely up to that point, Michigan won't have appeared on game day yet. Their slate's pretty dang favorable. They've been in the playoff, of course, the last 2 years. They could be vying for a third here. It's a great game in a great environment, of course. Penn State very well could actually, looking at their slate, maybe could have a loss or two, but this game will likely still have Big Ten East implications. Even if Penn State's out, Michigan and Ohio State would still be going for it. So, and the reason I went away from USC Oregon was because both teams in the weeks leading up to this play Utah and Washington. Like, I'm not saying no way. There's a likely chance that they're not going to both get unscathed, and also considering SC has to play like at Notre Dame before, there's some losses in front there that could prevent that matchup.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick there. Moving on to week 12, I thought this was a fairly easy choice. We got Georgia at Tennessee. There's a chance this could be the de facto SEC East title if Tennessee can kind of hang in there and be within one game of Georgia. And either way, even if it's like a 2-loss Tennessee against an undefeated Georgia, that's a huge game. The other options that week, UCLA at USC could happen, but I figure, like you said, Trey, with USC has some tough games leading into that. UCLA.
Don't count out the Beavers. Washington at Oregon State. Beavers would be pretty good
for week.
Beavers are a top 25 team.
Hey.
Washington.
Are you saying
Oregon State? Yeah, week 12. Isn't that week 12?
Week 12. I'm asking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's possible. But then
North
we got
Carolina, Clemson.
North Carolina at Clemson.
Yeah.
Not much else. So, yeah, Georgia at Tennessee.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Week 13. This is a rivalry week here.
Where is Ryan going with this one?
He's going Rutgers or something like
yeah.
Well, that's I thought about it, but
BYU Cincy game. You gotta do another.
Some of the games were off the book because of they're being played on Friday, unfortunately. So
yes.
No, I went with the big game.
Yeah.
Ohio State at Michigan, had to do it. That one's like too easy. I mean, I can't not go with that one. So. And like Trey said, Michigan's kind of hasn't had a ton, maybe at home, as far as opportunities for home game day games. So I think this is just the purpose opportunity. And how many they're scheduled with their schedule. It's like this has got to be, just they're not going to lose many games with their schedule. So that's an easy
going
one. You had the Iron Bowl
game.
Iron Bowl, also Clemson at South Carolina, Florida State, Florida, but none of those make sense.
No, it's always a fun week, though. All right,
Yep.
week 14, we get to conference championship week. The Pac-12 title's on Friday night, so I'm not going to go there. Last year, they did go to the Big 12 title. I feel like they're only going to go back to the Big 12 title if it's like Texas, Oklahoma in the final year of the league and they're vying for, a playoff spot or something. So, and I don't think they'll go to the Big 10 title because the West team this final year of that division is just never up to par with the East. So history says it'll be the SEC championship just because one or two of the teams will be vying for a playoff spot.
Every year, that's got to be the prediction. They don't, of course, they often don't go there, but you got to predict.
Big Ten starting next year with UCLA and USC coming in. It's that actually might be a good year to. Well, who knows who's going to make it, but.
And I could easily see the ACC if it's like Florida State Clemson rematch. That could be pretty anticipated.
Yep. Yeah, but a rematch.
Yeah. All right. Well, week 15. By the way, I was going through our records in previous years, we get the gimme. We give ourselves the gimme.
Okay.
Week 15, Army Navy. So, we're kind of padding our stats there a little bit, but
it's all right.
We'll take all the help we can get. So that's week 15, and that's it. So I'll put up the list again for those on YouTube just to take a look. But any thoughts overall on our list here? I know it's probably not. What eventually happens, there'll probably be more. What do we only have one Pac-12 game there? Might be
Oregon at Washington.
Yeah, there might be another one or two, but
and there might
hard to predict where it's going to come from with the parity at the top of that conference.
Yep, impossible to predict the surprises, the FCS games, if they do, and
Ooh, that's 6 SECs if you count the SEC title. May have gone a little SEC heavy there.
Well, but I think that again, we're picking the most likely in each given week. So I think it makes sense to do that. I mean, there might be 6 SEC game days
Ryan,
anyway. But
if we go 14 for 15 because you took Kansas State over or Kansas State, Texas over LSU, Bama, I'm gonna be so mad.
You'll be singing my praises when it does go K-State at Texas. You'll be like, oh man,
if they do it, I will bow down, Ryan.
All right. Well,
looking forward to it.
Thank you for checking out this episode of the College Football Bros. If you want to access our backlog of bonus episodes, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. That also gets you access to our Discord server where we're talking college football all year round. So we would appreciate that, and we'll see you next time.